There's been a lot of rainfall so far this spring and into the early summer, and we've just had a lot of growers that have their nitrogen out there and it could be at risk. So that's what we're going to talk about today on our Agronomy Focus video. I'm Tim Mundorf, Nutrient Management Lead, and with me today is Mick Godekin, our Innovation Agronomist with Central Valley Ag. Today on our Agronomy Focus video, we're going to talk about nitrogen loss, and it's going to correspond to an article we've got on the CVA website. So Mick, as you think a little bit about nitrogen loss, what really comes to mind for you?
Certainly with the saturated soil conditions, Tim, we've had a lot of opportunity to lose in. More rainfall than we've seen in a long time, since March, and that's pushing nitrogen down, the nitrate form downward, while the saturated soils, we're seeing that denitrification occurring and sending it upward. So certainly seeing a lot of loss.
You know, everybody talks about leaching and talks about, oh, my nitrogen's gone, it moved through the profile, but you know, with our heavier soils in our trade area, I really don't think that's the issue near as much as denitrification.
I think our biggest concern are these saturated soils where we're seeing rainfall events continuously, and we're keeping that saturated, getting that anaerobic bacteria working and causing denitrification to occur.
I know you and I have talked about it many times. You know, everybody talked about the flood back in March and how all that rainfall is going to cause us to lose our nitrogen. Well, when the soil's frozen, we don't have to worry too much about either leaching or denitrification. But you know, as the season's moved on and the rainfall's just kept coming and the soils have warmed up, that's when we've got our problem.
That's when problems start happening, Tim, and it can be a big issue for us this year.
You know, in the past, we've talked to growers that we really like to see them split apply because you can just do a better job of managing your nitrogen when you don't have everything hanging up on that up front. Maybe this year's the year to kind of convince them to move away from just straight anhydrous ammonia and that's all we do.
I sure hope so. I'd like to see more growers doing split applications.
What are some of the products that you like to use when you're doing a split application of nitrogen? Maybe you're a grower who's normally ammonia up front. What would you suggest for a guy to do something else in season?
You know, if you're typically applying ammonia up front, let's cut that rate back and then come back with either a side dress UAN or a top dress urea. Certainly there are guys that still do some side dress anhydrous too, but we have an opportunity to do it. A lot of guys get afraid of that, wanting to do it or getting to do it in a timely manner. Yep. And we all have that issue, but it's kind of amazing as the soil stays saturated. When we have a rainy season, that corn doesn't grow. And then of course the sun comes out and it really grows, but that gives us an opportunity to get across those acres with a side dress unit.
Yeah, and you know, compared to 20 and 30 years ago when all we thought of was that coulter cart that could only get through about V6, V7 corn, we've got a lot better high clearance application equipment now with spinners, air machines.
Definitely.
Even behind us here, we've got our wide drop system that you use on our research plots for adding nitrogen in season with that. Growers can add a wide drop system to their sprayer and do it that way.
Absolutely, it's a very cost effective way to add a wide drop system to what you currently have and be able to cross those acres.
And you and I have both seen drop nozzles and how they flop around and spray UAN everywhere, and you've got leaf burn all over the plant. But these wide drop nozzles do a lot better job of eliminating that.
They do, and actually using them myself, I've turned into quite the believer of them.
Yep. Now I know you're leading our efforts on the Adapt N tool. How does that work into this in-season nitrogen application?
So our Adapt N tool, Tim, it's a great system that was put together by Cornell University many years back. It's now privately owned, but that system allows us to see what's going on rather than you and I getting a phone call and saying, hey, how much nitrogen am I losing? And we're sitting there running a calculator forever.
Making up the numbers as we go.
Making up the numbers as we go because we're estimating. It actually collects weather data. It knows what is planted there, and then it utilizes that plus soil type to estimate loss through the scientific factors that we've learned over the years, and it gives us a good estimation of loss and plant uptake and so forth.
And we've talked about this in the past. Neither you or I love the plant tissue test as a way to assess nitrogen when you're talking about V4 to V6 corn. But if we get out there and take a tissue sample, we can see where we're at right now, maybe use another tool like Adapt-N or the PSNT to see where we're at on nitrogen, and then use that tissue sample to supplement the nitrogen program with something like sulfur or boron or another micronutrient that it's showing us we're short on.
That would be ideal. As you know, as you and I have discussed, nitrogen's so dynamic. it changes by the hour almost. And that's where the adapt in tool comes in, and it can make sure that it's seeing what's going on in a more timely fashion than a tissue sample can for nitrogen.
So that's about the end of our time. Mick, any closing thoughts you've got on nitrogen loss for these guys?
Keep an eye on your nitrogen, guys, and surely if you have any questions, you reach out and contact one of our field sales agronomists or Tim or myself.
So with Mick Godekin, I'm Tim Mundorf with Central Valley Ag, and this is your Agronomy Focus video.